Hello, dear viewers. Today I'm going to be talking about the protests in Nepal that happened this month. Let's begin. Nationalism. I support nationalism in my country, India, and all countries around the globe. Today I'm going to be talking about nationalism in a South Asian country, that is the country of Nepal. And for that, I will be focusing on the protests that have happened in Nepal in this month, earlier this week, where thousands, if not millions, of Nepali citizens have protested against their government for various reasons. They uh, eventually overthrew their government and now have an interim government and are seeking major changes in their country. I want to explore these protests and give my report on them. So, without further ado, let's get started. Here, it began on 4th September 2025 when the government of Nepal ordered the shutdown of 26 social media platforms, including Facebook, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, Signal, and Snapchat, for failing to register under the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology's new rules. Critics allege the shutdown was prompted by a social media trend highlighting nepotism, focusing on the undue privileges enjoyed by the children and relatives of influential political leaders. Large gatherings took place in Kathmandu, particularly at Metighar Mandala and around the Federal Parliament building, New Baneshwar, with tens of thousands of participants. A peaceful rally by Hami Nepal, an NGO whose website highlights earthquake relief projects, and Anil Bania, one of the protest organizers from Hami, Nepal, argued that the government cracked down hard on the protesters after one of their own, Meghraj Giri, threw a rock at a CCTV camera. Bania stated that what had started out as a peaceful protest had been hijacked by external forces and political party cadres, but that regardless, the government should not have responded to stones being thrown with live ammunition from the armed police. So we can see that the protests began peacefully. However, they were hijacked by external forces and political party cadres, which is unfortunate. I think such protests should not allow political parties to get involved. They make them biased and make the people lose control of the protest. And one of the protesters threw a rock as a CCTV camera. I don't approve of that. I think that protests should be peaceful, but I also agree that firing live ammunition for that is not acceptable to me. 9 September. After issuing a directive to his Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist ministers not to resign their posts, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned and fled to an army barracks in Shivapuri at Budhani Nilkanta. President Ramchandra Pudel, according to the Nepalese army, denied reports of Pudel's resignation. Despite this, protests continued nationwide. Protesters set fire to many government buildings, part of Singha Darbar, the administrative headquarters of Nepal, the adjacent building of the Supreme Court of Nepal, the president's residence at Sital Nivas, the prime minister's residence at Balwatar, and the headquarters of the Communist Party, UML. So we can see that the institutions of the state itself are being attacked by the people. They were very angry at the government for this. And also, some other political parties, like the headquarters of Nepali Congress, was vandalized. Security forces, including the Nepali army, facilitated safe evacuation of politicians from affected areas. Former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Doiba and his wife, Foreign Minister Arzu Rana Doiba, were injured while their house was set on fire. They were handed to police by protesters. So this shows that while the protesters were attacking buildings and infrastructure, they did not want to injure or kill any people. That they wanted to be not violent against uh, people or politicians included. And former Prime Minister Jalanath Kanal's residence was also set on fire, injuring his wife Rajya Lakshmi Chitrakar. In Chitwan district, the house of former Prime Minister Prachanda was set on fire. His daughter Ganga Dahal's house was also set on fire at Lalitpur. And the prison in Kailali district was attacked by protesters. All inmates fled. This is very dangerous. I think this was done by criminals, not exactly the same protesters who were protesting against the government. This was must have been by antisocial elements who wanted to support criminals. I hope that the government and the protesters can get these guys back into jail. Several protesters were injured. 33 were treated in the teaching hospital. Three policemen died in Koteshwar. In the early morning of 10th September, Nepali army forces were seen patrolling neighborhoods in critical areas. The Chief of Army Staff, Ashok Raj Sigdel, uh, encouraged protesters to remain peaceful as the government attempts to restore peace. In some places, protesters continued raiding government buildings, but the pace was slowed down by noon. Eventually, some protesters started cleaning the street near the parliament building that was set on fire the previous day. Protesters had held online discussions to select interim leader around 10 o'clock NPT, Nepal Standard Time. The group voted and selected Sushila Karki. She is a former Chief Justice of Nepal. In the morning, a meeting was held that included President Pudel, General Sigdel, and Gen Z representatives. The meeting was held at Bhadrakali Army headquarters as part of efforts to select an interim leader. According to Sort and the Communist Party of Nepal Maoist Center announced its support for the protests, with party chairperson Pushpa Kamal Dahal, or the who I earlier referred to as Prachanda, urging protesters to work within democratic framework. The death toll by 12 September reached 51, and Sushila Karki was inaugurated as interim prime minister, and shortly afterwards, President Pudel dissolved the parliament and set 5th March as a date for the next election. The curfew was lifted in the Kathmandu area. Prime Minister Karki began visiting injured protesters in hospitals. In the afternoon, calm was said to have been restored in the country. Now, what really uh, set this off was the fact that when the demonstrations began, the police opened fire, killed 19 protesters on Monday. This caused the greater number of protesters come out on Tuesday and just go totally crazy against the government. And here are the demands of the protesters. Their two main demands have been clear. The government must lift a ban on social media, which happened, and officials putting an end to what they call corrupt practices. That will take much longer to do. It will require a lot of people, corrupt politicians going to jail, institutions being reformed, and etc. Protesters, many of them college students, have linked the social media blockade with curtailing freedom of speech and widespread allegations of corruption among politicians. And the Nepo kids trend was a big issue. It along with Nepo babies, it was a hashtag spreading throughout social media. These two terms have gained popularity on social media in the past few weeks after a number of videos showed the lavish lifestyles of politicians and their families went viral in Nepal. Protesters argued these individuals enjoy success and luxury without merit, living off public money while ordinary Nepalis struggle. I completely sympathize with them. It's not fair that that children of politicians uh, live off of public money without working themselves. They, like other people, should earn their own money. And Nepal's first female prime minister, Sushila Karki, was sworn in Friday as interim leader. She was the former chief justice and is 73 years old. And Karki spent much of her career within the very establishment the youth are protesting against, yet her reputation as a fearless and incorruptible jurist has appealed to many young people in the country of 30 million. Karki built a legal career, culminating in her historic appointment as Nepal's first female Chief Justice in 2016. It was during her tenure at the helm of the judiciary that she became known for her zero tolerance approach to corruption. 1 year after her appointment, Karki faced an impeachment motion from the ruling coalition after her bench overturned the government's choice for police chief, a decision seen as a defense of meritocracy against political cronyism. The motion was withdrawn after a significant public and judicial backlash, an episode that solidified her image as a guardian of institutional integrity. Now, for my closing remarks. So, we can see that Nepal's protests have been successful and they began peacefully, that must be mentioned. But because of the government's firing at the protesters, killing 19 people, and it just enraged people and caused the protests to be aggravated and became violent because people completely lost faith in the use of peaceful protests. And uh, also, now there's a question about whether some people within Nepal, but also mainly outside Nepal, have wondered whether this is a color revolution, which has been sponsored by foreign countries to cause regime change within Nepal to bring in a government that is more favorable to that country. And when people mention color revolution, they're mainly talking about the United States and other Western countries, which have been known to conduct such operations in countries that were viewed as either hostile or even neutral towards them. And as of now, I have not seen any evidence of that, although I wouldn't completely think it's not possible. Several analysts, like in the Durant YouTube channel, have claimed that this is a regime change operation. I'm not going to say whether that's true or false, but I would just give some friendly advice to the people of Nepal, whoever of you ever watch this video. Make sure that your country remains within your control and that you don't allow foreign countries, including my own, India, to interfere and control your country's internal politics. As long as you are in charge, then Nepal's future will be prosperous despite the internal challenges you face. Just keep your independence and sovereignty intact. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. If you want to see other videos about nationalism in South Asian countries, click here. If you want to see my previous video, click here. If you want to see the sources I use for this video, click links in the description below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.